Welcome to a new edition of Educational Interviews with Flavia Lopez and Alejandro Andrade. If you are a journalism student, maybe you are facing big problems to start in the field of voiceover. For that reason, tonight we will be interviewing Pablo Usquiano, a professional voiceover. Welcome, Pablo.
Hi, Alejandro and Flavia. How are you? Thank you for your invitation.
Great. Well, we
Okay.
are we appreciate your because you have agreed this interview with us despite your obligations. And we are doing this interview because as journalist students, we face many difficulties in our first steps in that field of voiceover. And I know that you have a very long or a long experience,
More or less,
maybe
not too long.
not too long, but
Not too long.
I'm sure that is
Okay.
better than us. So we want to start the interview with a first question.
Okay. Go ahead.
So let me start to interview with this question in first place. How did this passion for voiceover come about?
Well, my passion for voiceover came about when I was a teenager by listening to music programs on the radio far away in the 19s. Okay. I listened to the broadcasters who presented my favorite music of the moment. And I said to myself, I want to be like them. I would like to have my own radio program to present the hits of the moment. I remember that I even asked my dad to enroll me in a voiceover workshop to learn more because it happens that at home we had a phonograph that included a cassette player and additionally a microphone to record the voice, right? So everything began there. And I started to record my voice, to practice reading, to try to imitate what the DJs, right, did on their music programs on the radio.
Okay, so
Yeah.
since young you have a big passion for this field, and what difficulties did you have at the beginning of your career in voiceover?
Well, I had several difficulties, like beginning broadcaster has no? Right? In his career, for example, to find a stable and well-paid job, no, as a broadcaster, since the competition is very high and the demand is variable depending on the media and the sector. For example, adapt to the demands and the requirements of the clients, the producers, directors, or editors who can very strict or changeable with the type of voice or style of voiceover they are looking for. No, for example, also how to learn to manage your stress, your anxiety, and frustration that a long, intensive, or difficult recording session can generate, you know, in your soul, in your body. Hmm?
What was your first program in which you worked, and could you tell us a little about the experience?
Well, okay. I remember that my cousin was reading Catholic news on a Catholic program on a Catholic radio too, because her mother helps in her parish, and I guess that someone asked her to help with this, and she, knowing that I liked the voiceover, asked me to help her too, and I accepted. Okay, and I began to read the news with her on this Catholic program. Well, this experience was quite helpful because my cousin and I used to look for Christian news in the newspapers so that we can share it on the program. But not only was that, but I also had to summarize it. No, okay, that if the article was very extensive, and I think this helped me to be able to familiarize the newspaper so that we can share it on the program. Okay, it was a way for you to familiarize in order to know how to communicate it to the listeners more fluently, no? Okay.
Yes, we
Mhm.
usually start in the field of journalism and also the field of voiceover, thanks to maybe a contact as you. Um, well, what skills do you consider essential to be a good broadcaster?
Well, to be a good broadcaster or announcer, I think you need several skills. For example, how to communicate well. That means to have good diction, an accent appropriate to the target audience, good improvisation and writing skills, how to modulate the tone and intensity of the voice. Uh, also, also, you must adapt the voice to the characteristics and purpose of the recording, whether it is to convey emotions, to inform, or to persuade. Also, you have to possess a good personality. You must be charismatic, creative, empathetic, and you have to be yourself.
Yes, and at
Mhm.
least in the field of journalists, you need not only be a a very good professional, a very good voiceover, but also you need at least the you need at least knowledge of journalists to summarize and choose the correct news.
And what future projects or goals could you like to achieve in your career as a broadcaster?
Well, my future goals are to get a stable job as an announcer in some media because um, now I, I I do some voiceovers in certain times, right? I would like to do also dubbing. I mean the when the it's a job where the voiceovers place the voice translating into another languages. Okay. Well, well, I would like to continue perfecting the handling of the voice, receiving feedback from the public, and the guidance and other experienced broadcasters or voiceovers, participating also in voiceover auditions, castings, and in the future, I would like to train to beginning voiceovers. For example, I like to offer voiceover services in this area for documentaries or commercials about which I am passionate mostly. Um a few months ago, I helped a friend with something similar, no? A documentary for a university project.
Okay,
This
and let's think a scenario where uh, a student, as we are, come to your office and want to be trained for you, but that person doesn't have a perfect voice. It's possible to reach a high level in voiceover without having a natural talent.
well, I think it is possible, but it requires a lot of effort, dedication, and you have to practice too. I think that natural talent can be an advantage, but it is not enough to reach a high level in voiceover. We also need to learn and master the techniques and resources that make our voiceover effective, truthful, and natural. There are some things you can do to improve your voice without being a natural talent, such as taking voiceover classes for a teacher. You can receive guidance, feedback, and advice to improve your voice, your diction, your intonation, exercises, your rhythm, your breathing, and your interpretation. And you must know that because you are a journalist, right?
Perfect.
Mhm.
And talking about the breathing, Flavia, I have a question to you about that.
How do you prepare before a voiceover session?
Um, an announcer must prepare in several ways before a voiceover session. For example, at the vocal level and at the content level, you should take care of your voice. You avoid eating foods that irritate the throat. Uh, you must drink warm water or infusions before a voiceover session. Do not smoke or drink alcohol. Do not shout or strain, I mean, force your voice. And you should do vocal exercises. For example, warm up the voice with breathing exercises, articulation, vocalization, open your mouth wide, and intonation exercises to avoid injuries, your throat. Okay. Um, you must read, for example, the text beforehand, I mean, with anticipation, so you can familiarize yourself with the text to be spoken. You must understand its meaning and purpose, marking pauses, pay attention to the punctuation marks, inflections, and giving emphasis. No, practice reading about until it comes out fluently and naturally.
Well, you just name a long list about many things that are indispensable to be a good announcer and be a professional in the field of voiceover. And however, most people think that in order to be a good announcer, you have to have a deep voice or just be a good reader. And I want to ask you, uh, is necessary to have a professional microphone to record and practice?
Well,
What?
it is not necessary a microphone. Well, no, it's not necessary to have a professional microphone to record and practice your voiceovers. Now you can use even your cellular phone, but it is advisable to have an equipment that allows you to capture your voice correctly and avoid sound interference. For example, my brother helps me to record some commercials or documentaries some people ask me for.
What is your approach to transmitting emotion through your voice?
Uh, my approach. An announcer, well, I think an announcer must focus on transmitting emotions through his voice um, in order that so that the message is more credible, attractive, and persuasive. I think to achieve this, you must take into account some aspect. For example, the intention, to define the purpose and objective of the voiceover, what you want to achieve with the message, who it is addressed to, and what you want to provoke in the receiver. Then we have the interpretation, when you give life to the text, expressing what is felt and what is thought with the voice. Use nonverbal language and paraverbal resources to reinforce the message. When you are recording, you have to feel, and sometimes the listeners don't see you, but you are um, trying to make expressions in your face, or you have to move your hands in order to to reinforce, right, the message. You have
You,
to
you have
live, to laugh,
to act, no,
to
like an
act.
actor.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
yes, like an actor.
Um, and now voices serve to voiceover.
Not all voices are suitable for voiceover, since there are some requirements that must be met for a voice to be suitable for this job. Some of these requirements are, for example, have a good vocal health. You must take care of your voice, avoid habits that damage it. You have to do warm up and relaxation exercises. Um, you must have a good diction, pronounce the words correctly, avoid language vices, articulate sounds well, and do not eat the letters or syllables. You must have a good intonation. You must have a good modulate modulation. Modulation. You have a pleasant type of voice, right? But nowadays, what the directors or producers look for in the announcer is mainly the ability to interpret and transmit through the voice instead of a beautiful voice, because that is, in the end, purely perception and a matter of what they like the most.
So
However, it's
the
also
producer,
important. Huh?
so the
Mhm.
producers are looking for
How-
people who is able to maybe act like be like actors and be
mhm.
more than just a deep voice or beautiful voice.
Right. Some directors look for voiceovers. They can have a good voice, but it is more important that they know how to interpret and transmit the message. Even if a voiceover who has a deep voice, right?
To end, what advice would you give to someone who wants to be a broadcaster?
Okay, well, my advice to you is to practice your voice and oral expression a lot, because the voice is the main instrument of a voiceover. So you must take care of it and train it to improve your quality and versatility. Some ways to practice your voice are do vocal warm-up exercises before each speech, such as taking a deep breath, relaxing your jaw and neck. Try to inhale the air into the nose and exhale through the mouth, no? But very in a low speed, no? Right? Um, well, you have to making sound with your lips or tongue. You have to practice reading aloud texts of different genres and styles, such as news, stories, poems, advertisements. You have to record yourself and listen carefully, identifying the strengths and weaknesses of your voice, such as the tone, the volume. Try to imitate our announcers. Try to listen to the radio programs, radio a lot. Try to imitate your favorite voiceover. You can learn a lot from them.
Yes,
Okay.
like having a model, like having a
Yes,
model.
having a model. You have to a model.
Well,
And
Mr. Pablo,
for the ladies also a voiceover, no, a female voiceover.
yes, a female voiceover. Well, Mr. Pablo, thank you for the interview, and I'm sure that these answers are going to be very helpful for those students who need help in this field. So, thank you very much.
Thank you to you,
Thank you.
Alejandro. Thank
Thank
you
you.
to you, La Flavia.
Well,
You're welcome.
see you next
See you
time.
next time.
Bye, bye, bye.
Of course. Bye.